Hi guys, this is Nomi again, and I'm introducing another team that qualified for Blizzcon, and we are talking about Temple Storm this time, and it's actually quite hard from the outside, from Europe, to talk about the American teams because I assume that a lot of people from America know a lot better than me what's happening in teams like Temple Storm. But let's just try to find out together and. Let's try to get a sense on how strong Tempo Storm actually are for this BlizzCon, because as you can see in the regular season, they didn't look very strong in HGCNA at all. They won 7 matches, they lost 7 matches, and in comparison to Europe, we have to say that the weaker teams in the league appear to be a lot weaker than the top teams, while in Europe, pretty much all the teams are quite decent, and yeah, it's hard for me to say how strong the top teams in HCC and A actually are, but obviously at Western Clash they didn't perform as well as we would want them to do. Even from the European side, obviously we want the competition to be fierce and the matches to be tense, but at the Western Clash, not only Tempo Storm, but all the American teams didn't perform very well. So yeah, we can just hope that they will do better this time. And yeah, let's find out together if Tempo Storm might be able to play a role in that. So obviously they didn't do well in the HGC NA regular season, but they dominated the playoffs. And we actually had a very similar story in Europe for Team Expert, and I'm looking forward to see Team Expert at BlizzCon because I feel like they can do quite well, especially because they looked so strong at the end of the season. So maybe that's also true for Temple Storm. There's also one more point that I really have to address because I talked about Team Expert presenting or bringing the only German player to BlizzCon, which is actually not true because Caterpillar actually was born in Germany, and as far as I could find out, he is still able to talk German as well. So obviously, the German community will also hope that Temple Storm and Caterpillar can do well at BlizzCon. Anyway, the lineup obviously consists of Caterpillar as the captain, Cawthon Luck, Psalm, Fury, and June. And I will not show you any in-game videos, but just some interviews, and so we're gonna get a sense of their team spirit, and also we're gonna see some talk about their roles in the lineup.
Euro actually was on a little tilt mode after we lost to Superstars 2 weeks ago. So ever since that, it was like a wake up call for us. Everyone tried really hard. So I definitely am more confident for playoffs. Team Freedom is definitely fairly new compared to the other top teams in NA, but they really improved a lot very quick and show what they can do. That they're really a dominant team. We've been practicing very hard ever since we showed unfortunate games for the past few weeks. So to all the Tempo fans out there, look forward to our future games.
Our series against Tempo, I think that we shouldn't have too much trouble with it. They've seemed like they've been struggling a lot lately in their recent series. We're looking for a 3-0 to prove that we're one of the best teams, if not the best team in North America. And Tempo is one of the only teams to beat us this season, so it'll be nice to come back with a win against them. Well,
Oh, I was doing it. Okay. So obviously, we also heard Zagrak talking about Tempo Storm, and that's not at the end of the season, but in the second phase. And obviously, we can hear that Tempo Storm is quite frustrated about their performance, and they basically had that wake up call. That's what they kept talking about also towards the end of the season. They got frustrated, and then they found motivation to perform better and also to practice way more, which is a bit weird from the outside because in the European teams, all the teams are practicing a lot. Maybe some lose motivation throughout the season a little bit, but Tempo Storm obviously is at the top of the food chain normally in NA, and they also had quite a lot of other rosters that always try to compete at the top level, not only for the American region, but they also tried to win the global events, and they always had a shot to beat all the other teams from Europe, from Korea. And it sounds like they basically don't find any motivation to practice sometimes, and well, that just doesn't sound very good. But on the other hand, if they now found that motivation again, maybe they are actually a strong contender for BlizzCon. We're gonna have to find out. It's really hard to say from the outside. Yeah, obviously we can see that the group is quite difficult, and from what we heard till now, I would say it should be a very tough ride for them, because MVP Black obviously is very strong right now, and they should be winning that group without any problems, in my opinion. Deadly Kittens also look quite decent, in my opinion, and CE only has one stand, and so they should be able to perform almost at their best level. On the other hand, Tempo Storm, yeah, if they can perform as well as in the playoffs, maybe they actually have a chance. For me, also hard to judge how strong they actually were, because shortly after the playoff finals against Gale Force Esports, we heard about the retirement of Mike Udall. So yeah, it's hard to estimate for me if Tempo Storm is actually looking that strong, and if we should look forward to see them perform well at BlizzCon. But if they perform well, I think they can win against CE and Deadly Kittens, and then at least they should be able to qualify for the quarterfinals, and then they might have the home crowd supporting them, and who knows how far they can get. So as I'm not an expert for the American region, let's just listen to the experts of the American season to see what we can expect from Tempo Storm at BlizzCon.
Finals. We now know all 16 teams who are going. This guy will be there competing his heart out, representing North America. How do you feel about Tempo Storm being the team to go after this series?
After this series, I can say without a doubt, this best of 5 in particular is the best we have ever seen Tempo Storm play.
Totally agree.
Other than you and I.
Other than us, okay. No, but what I mean is, like, I haven't seen this version or a version close to this from Tempo Storm in over a year.
I totally agree. I think part of it is finally being able to figure out what roles truly define them, what they feel best on. Som seems to be on another level these last few times. Fury seems to be on an absolute tear. Like,
dude,
I am
Diablo?
terrified. His everything, Glau.
Yeah.
His everything.
Seriously, though, like, you're not overselling it at all. He's so good. Like, in this playoff, like, I honestly would put Fury probably as the Tempo Storm MVP.
I agree. He played out of his mind, but the whole team played phenomenally. The boot camp really came in for Tempo Storm to put on an incredible showing and show why they deserve to have this repeat BlizzCon performance.
I'm really satisfied to see that level of dominance from them, and then to be that third place representative, right? That is always what I'm looking for. To hold your own across the rest of the world, you got to be able to bully North America. And Tempo Storm did some things that they have never shown me ever since this formation of a roster. They have never been able to be like, well, we're just going to pick this map, even though that's strategically just for the next opponent, and then still look absolutely dominant. Hide this, ban out the Vala in game 3. They did so many things that were just, we're better than you, and we know that, and we're going to win, that they have never done before. And so I almost feel like it's going to be the best of this roster's ever done internationally. I'm just not sold, because they still have a long while until BlizzCon, and, you know, it's going to be a very different game at that point.